Oh my god, my grades are actually so bad right now.
Yeah, that test was so hard. I hope the next one's easier. What's the next year about? Do you guys know?
Where I think it's on post-classical Asia.
Oh, really? Yo, that's pretty interesting. Do you guys like the Aztecs or do you think the Mongols were better?
Easily the Mongols win.
Bro, I think it's the Aztecs.
Are you serious? I gotta go to the bathroom really quick.
Sean, look. This is what Mr. Jeremy was talking about during class today. Legit, the Aztecs had such a better infrastructure than the Mongols. They built an entire city on a lake using chinapas. Like, I don't even understand how that's possible. They produced agriculture and they made houses on this lake.
Yeah, you're right.
They're
That's
so much better than the Mongols.
Yo, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Jack, were you actually serious earlier thinking that the Aztecs are better than the Mongols?
Yeah, of course. Their citizens had a longer lifetime span and their empire lasted for a longer amount of time than the Mongols.
Okay, but the Mongolian Empire was way bigger and stronger than the Aztecs. When they ruled, they had a total of 24 million kilometers squared.
Well, just because they had a lot of land doesn't mean that each of their city-states were unified. The Aztecs unified every single state under the rule.
Okay, but when the Mongols ruled, they had over 50 different ethnic groups and different languages under their rule.
But you guys still...
Jack, you're actually so stupid for thinking that the Aztecs are better than the Mongols.
Okay, how are they not? Legit.
They expanded more. Their empire was way bigger. It was like 150 times bigger.
Yeah, but it's not civilized. Like, actually, we're talking
What
about...
is it? Alright, do you want to fight then?
Okay, let's fight.
Yo, what's going on here? Don't fight here. Take it outside if you guys want to fight.
Bro, I'm tired of you bullying me all the time.
What's up then?
The Aztecs' agriculture is better. The Aztec people created floating gardens to grow their crops when land was scarce and allowed the plants to flourish. This means they always had plenty of food to sustain themselves. Unlike the Mongols, who had very little food grown and only expanded through fighting and never created an empire.
Our infrastructure is better.
Also throughout the Aztec Empire, their engineering advancements and use of complex tools allowed them to build very sophisticated projects such as tall buildings, roads, canals, bridges, temples, and many houses. Also during this time period, the Aztecs managed to build the entire city on a water using chinapas, and this would last for hundreds of years to follow. Unlike the Mongols, they created communities such as various city-states around the lake when the Mongols just didn't settle in one area.
Our health sciences were better.
Throughout the time of the Aztec Empire, the medical practices and health procedures were revolutionary during this part of South America and during the world. Specialized villagers would perform surgeries such as the removal of hearts during human sacrifice. The passion flower was also a revolutionary aspect during this time period because it helped during muscle spasms. This is also still used today during common medical practices. Unlike the Mongolians, they believed that the blood of freshly killed animals would help cure almost every disease, such as a wounded person or someone who is sick inflicted by a disease. As we all know, this is like untrue today. Because of these facts, the Aztec Empire clearly has a more advanced health system than the Mongols did during this time.
Although he was cold and tired, Maher knew that he needed to fight back if he wanted to beat Jack.
Our military was better.
The Mongol military is unanimously known as one of the strongest, most complex military systems the world has ever seen. One of the most unique, powerful traits of their military was how every soldier was well trained in riding horses and shooting arrows. The Mongolian bow was the most accurate and deadly of all bows, along with having early forms of cannons and semi-explosives of gunpowder. The Mongol army also used a psychological aspect of war in spreading rumors about how ruthless, powerful, and scary they were. Also, the Mongols knew a lot about the land that they were going to invade, making them even more effective and powerful.
A much greater influence on the world.
The Mongolian Empire affected and influenced our world as we know it. First, they were the main current of spreading technology and advanced knowledge throughout their vast empire. Within the Pax Mongolica, the sharing of knowledge, information, and cultural identity was encouraged. Citizens could legally become followers of Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, or anything else as long as their practice didn't interfere with the political ambitions of Khan. The Pax Mongolica also allowed monks, missionaries, traders, and explorers to travel along trade routes, all spreading and gaining new technology, leading to future expansion and knowledge that impacted the world as we know it. Some of the most fundamental ideas and technologies in the world stem from the impact and influence of the Mongol rule and regulation among trade routes, including paper making, gunpowder manufacturing, and more, along with the positive long-term effects that the Mongol Empire had on Europe. As regions became stable under the Pax Mongolica, trade became less risky under the various sub-empires and ultimately allowed for cross-cultural interactions throughout Europe and Asia, with certain cultures still being seen today.
Don't forget the Mongols were the powerhouse of the foreign world.
Because the Mongol Empire was so big, the majority of crucial decisions and programs ran through the rule of the Mongols, with ultimately dictating what happens and what doesn't. Spanning from modern-day Russia, China, Korea, Southeast Asia, Persia, the Middle East, and Eastern Europe, the Mongol Empire controlled all the people within their vast empire, having a great influence and sense of power throughout the world, as demonstrated multiple times throughout history. In unifying and effectively controlling all of their subjects under the rule of Genghis Khan, the Mongols asserted their dominance and influence all throughout the world, proving to be a powerhouse throughout their empire.
Like, I actually can't believe Jack really tried to fight me over that. He knows I messed him up, and he knows the Mongols are actually way better.
Yeah, but wait, when you think about it, the Mongols and Aztecs are a lot more similar than you think. They both valued a strong military. The Aztec Empire valued a strong military made up of advanced weaponry compared to other nearby regions, as well as the desire for strategic expansion. This all led to the growth of the empire. Likewise, the Mongols also incorporated a strong military strategy based off their nomadic lifestyle in order to conquer most of Asia. Although their military strategies were very different, in both cases a strong military allowed for the expansion of both empires into nearby areas. Also, Maher, you can't forget about the fact that women had equal rights in both the Aztec and Mongol Empire.
How do they have equal rights if everywhere it's a patriarch?
Well, when you think about it, women had equal role in society as men in many cases. Another similarity between the Mongols and Aztecs was their accepting of women's rights and the significant role of women within both societies. In the Aztec Empire, women performed household tasks in addition to the responsibilities of raising their children. Women in the Aztec Empire also were able to participate in government. In the Mongol Empire, Mongolian women took the place of men when they went off to war. These responsibilities included tending to the herds and providing for their families.
I actually regret fighting Jack, because we have more peace and similarities rather than differences. Jack, I know you don't really want to hear me or see me or talk to me because of the viral World Star fight that everyone's been talking about. But when you were gone, John and I were talking about it, and you actually made some really good points how the Aztecs and Mongols actually have more in common rather than against each other. So I feel like because of that, we should just create it.
Yeah, now that I think about it, we kind of do.
That's why I love you.